Have you noticed how your energy becomes truly precious with each passing year? Not just physical energy, but that soul-deep reservoir that fuels your joy, peace, and purpose. For decades, many of us have been givers, peacemakers, and caretakers, often at our own expense. We've believed kindness means always saying yes, even when our hearts scream no. But here's a truth rarely spoken. This beautiful stage of life isn't just a milestone. It's a hard-earned privilege that comes with the absolute right to protect your peace. If this resonates with you, hit that like button right now. Today, I'm having an honest conversation about something uncomfortable yet necessary. There are certain people you no longer need to give unlimited kindness to. Not because you've turned cold, but because you've finally recognized the true value of your time, energy, and wisdom gained through decades of living. In the next few minutes, we'll explore 5 types of people from whom it's perfectly acceptable, necessary, even, to create healthy distance. By the end, you'll feel not just permission but encouragement to protect the precious life you've built with all the care it deserves. Ready? Type, "I'm ready," in the comments if you're committed to reclaiming your peace. First, let's talk about the endless taker. You know exactly who I mean. That person whose name on your caller ID makes your heart sink. Not from dislike, but because experience has taught you this call isn't about connection, it's about collection. Another favor, another request, another chunk of your precious time. Take Martha, 72, living in her cozy Seattle home. For years, she was everyone's solution. Need someone to watch the grandkids? Call Martha. Car broke down? Martha never says no. Yet when pneumonia confined her to bed last winter, her phone stayed eerily silent. On her birthday last month, only a handful of belated text messages arrived from those who regularly sought her help. The realization hit her like gentle waves. Her kindness wasn't treasured, it was expected. Hear this clearly. You are not a service. You are a complete human being with a heart full of stories, a mind rich with experience, and a spirit deserving honor. Your no doesn't need explanation. It stands complete on its own. It's not selfishness, it's self-preservation. It ensures you have enough of yourself left for what truly matters. Ask yourself, if someone only stays because you continuously fulfill their demands, do they value your company or just what you provide? What relationship comes to mind right now? Take a deep breath. Awareness is the first step toward change. Our second type, the silent critic. These people are harder to spot because they rarely show obvious hostility. Their criticism slips in sideways, wrapped in just trying to help or telling it like it is. Small comments about your appearance, home, decisions, or the hobbies that bring you joy. James, an 83-year-old retired teacher, experienced this weekly with his sister-in-law. Every Thursday, he'd bring garden flowers to her home. And every Thursday, without fail, she'd find something to critique. You're wearing that shirt again? It does nothing for your complexion. Still working on that model ship? I thought you'd have given up by now. Year after year, these tiny judgments eroded James' confidence until he stopped mentioning his projects and second-guessed every choice. Let me tell you something important. You've lived too many years and weathered too many storms to let anyone make you feel small. You don't need to shrink yourself to fit someone else's narrow vision. You deserve relationships that celebrate your uniqueness rather than constantly suggesting inadequacy. The next time you leave a conversation feeling heavier instead of lighter, pay attention. It's not oversensitivity. It's your inner wisdom sending an important message. Try saying to yourself, I choose my peace over their approval. I choose my joy over their judgment. How does that feel? Drop a heart emoji if these words give you strength. Now for our third type, the guilt engineer. Unlike critics or takers, guilt engineers rarely make direct demands. Their method is far more subtle, making you feel responsible for their happiness and emotional state. You'll recognize them by a disappointed sigh that lingers too long, a comment delivered with just enough sadness to make your heart ache, or a silence somehow louder than words. Elizabeth, a 77-year-old grandmother, knew this dance well. When she declined a midweek family dinner because of her painting class, a small pleasure she'd only recently allowed herself, her daughter's response cut deep. I guess it's fine. The kids will be disappointed, but they'll understand that your class is more important than family time. No shouting, no direct accusation, just enough implied guilt to make Elizabeth question whether pursuing her own joy made her somehow less loving. This is exactly what guilt engineers count on. That small voice inside you still striving to be good enough. Before you realize what's happening, you're constantly adjusting your choices, schedule, even dreams just to avoid that heavy feeling of letting someone down. Remember this. Your kindness is not a debt others can collect at will. Your time is not a resource others are entitled to whenever convenient for them. If someone only shows warmth when you conform to their wishes and withdraws that warmth when you stand in your truth, that's not love. That's control disguised as affection. Try this. Next time you feel that guilt wave coming, pause and ask, is this truly my responsibility to fix? Often, the answer is no. Liberated by that truth? Type free in the comments. Fourth, the secret competitor. Unlike others we've discussed, these people seem supportive on the surface. They smile at your good news and congratulate your achievements. But underneath runs a current of something else, a barely perceptible need to one-up or diminish your joy. Margaret, a vibrant 74-year-old, finally pursued her lifelong dream of learning piano. When she shared this news with her friend of 30 years, the response seemed positive but carried a hidden sting. How wonderful! I've actually been thinking of taking up the cello myself. I played a bit in college. It's so much more complex than piano, but I think I'm ready for the challenge. A simple comment perhaps, but followed by others carrying the same message. Whatever Margaret did, her friend could do better. Your recital piece sounds lovely, very simple and approachable. My instructor has me working on something quite advanced. Gradually, Margaret stopped sharing her small victories. The pure joy she found at the piano became tarnished with doubt. Here's what's true. Real friendship doesn't keep score. Authentic connection isn't a competition. People who genuinely care for you don't need to diminish your light to make their own shine brighter. At this beautiful stage of life, when you finally earn the freedom to explore dormant dreams, you deserve people who celebrate every step without reservation. Notice how people respond when you share something you're proud of. Do they add their joy to yours, or subtly shift the spotlight? That awareness alone is powerful. Fifth, and finally, the indirect underminer. These individuals rarely express negative feelings directly. They prefer hints over clarity, sarcasm over honesty, and subtle digs disguised as jokes. What makes them particularly challenging is how they leave you confused, questioning whether you're simply being too sensitive. Robert, an 82-year-old retired postal worker, experienced this whenever he asked his neighbor for occasional help with physically challenging tasks. The response always came with an edge. Sure thing, old-timer. Got to watch those brittle bones of yours. Happy to help now, but don't make a habit of it. I'm not getting any younger either. Each comment delivered with a smile, presented as good-natured ribbing. But each left Robert feeling diminished, uncertain whether he was asking too much. That's the power of passive aggression. It leaves you doubting yourself rather than questioning their behavior. The danger, especially as we age, is that this subtle undermining gradually erodes our confidence and willingness to reach out, leaving us increasingly isolated. Remember this truth. Peace that comes at the expense of your dignity isn't peace at all. It's a compromise that costs far too much. You deserve communication that's clear and kind, not layered with hidden barbs. A simple but powerful response is saying, I'm not sure that came across as you intended. Or simply change the subject. You don't need to play a game you never agreed to join. Now, take a moment to check in with yourself. Do any of these patterns sound familiar in your life? Has a face or name come to mind during our conversation? If so, you're not alone. Type yes if you've recognized someone in these descriptions. You have the absolute right to create boundaries. You have the freedom to step back. You can choose yourself without apology. This isn't about becoming cold or withdrawn. It's about finally honoring the years you've lived, the wisdom you've gathered, and the precious life you've built. As we grow older, each day becomes increasingly valuable. We no longer have the luxury of spending our limited time trying to please those who don't appreciate our presence or respect our boundaries. The most powerful changes often happen quietly through small, consistent decisions. Not rushing to answer certain calls immediately, limiting visits that leave you feeling drained, redirecting conversations when they turn critical, saying, I'll need to think about that, instead of an automatic yes. Spending more time with those who genuinely celebrate your joy. Setting boundaries isn't selfish, it's sacred. It's how you honor the gift of the life you've been given and the years you've earned. Some might not understand your new boundaries. Some might push back. That's okay. Their reaction is information about the relationship, not about your worth. When you step back from relationships that drain you, something magical happens. You create space for connections that truly nourish you. The right people, those who love you fully without conditions, will find their way to you. The light of a heart that finally honors itself is impossible to resist. Your later years aren't meant for silent battles or holding on to relationships out of guilt or habit. They're meant to be lived joyfully, surrounded by those who nourish your spirit and honor your journey. Today, I encourage you to give yourself the same kindness you've spent a lifetime giving others. Listen to that wise, brave voice inside you, the one that knows when it's time to close certain doors and open new ones. What one small boundary will you set this week to protect your precious energy? Share below. Your insight might help someone else find their courage. If this message resonated with you, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe. Your support helps us create more content that speaks to the real challenges and joys of this remarkable stage of life. Thank you for spending this time with me. Here's to living every day with the unshakable knowledge that you are worthy of peace, worthy of joy, and worthy of relationships that truly honor the magnificent person you are.